When we think of the most isolated, heavily controlled, and repressive nation on Earth, our minds instantly go to one place: North Korea. We know the stories: the complete media blackout, the personality cult of the Kim dynasty, and the labor camps. Well, I think this one far more worse than North Korea. Welcome to Eritrea, often dubbed by journalists as the North Korea of Africa. For years, organizations like Reporters Without Borders have ranked Eritrea at the absolute bottom of the World Press Freedom Index, sometimes even below North Korea. Is a nation with no constitution, no independent judiciary, no private media, and not a single election since its independence in 1993. But is it truly worse than North Korea? Today, we are going inside the most secretive state in Africa to compare the reality of life under both regimes. But before we get started, I hope you bring your snacks to enjoy this video. Now let's begin. To understand why these two nations are the way they are, we have to look at their rulers. The Kim family are treated like living God. Their portraits are in every living room, every train car, and pinned to every citizen's chest. The control is deeply ideological, built over 3 generations. Eritrea is completely different. Its dictator, Isaias Afwerki, doesn't want your worship. He just wants your absolute compliance. Well, who is he exactly? Afwerki was a heroic guerrilla leader who led Eritrea to win a brutal 30-year war of independence against Ethiopia in 1993. At first, the world thought he would be a progressive African leader. But instead, he weaponized the trauma of that war. In 1997, a draft constitution was written to promise elections. But a border war with Ethiopia broke out in 1998. Afwerki seized the opportunity. He cracked down on political rivals, locked up journalists, and indefinitely postponed the constitution. Unlike North Korea, you won't see giant billboards of Afwerki smiling on every street corner in the capital, Asmara. He rarely gives speeches, dresses simply, and lives relatively modestly compared to Kim. But don't let the lack of flash fool you. While North Korea is a totalitarian state built on an ideology, Eritrea is a totalitarian state built on pure militarism and paranoia. The single biggest reason why experts argue Eritrea is worse for the average country: the national service. In North Korea, military conscription is notoriously long, up to 10 years for all men. It's brutal, but there is an end date. You serve your time, and you return to civilian life. In Eritrea, by law, every citizen over 18 must undergo 18 months of national service. Sounds standard, right? Except for one terrifying detail: the government almost never lets you leave. Under the guise of national defense and national development, the 18-month service is routinely extended indefinitely. Tens of thousands of Eritrean men and women find themselves trapped in the military or forced state labor for 10, 15, or even 20 years. They are paid next to nothing, often less than $30 a month. They are used as cheap labor to harvest fields, build roads, or work in gold mines owned by foreign corporations partnering with the government. A United Nations Commission officially classified this system as enslavement and a crime against humanity. Think about the psychological toll. Imagine turning 18, being sent to a military camp in the middle of a desert, and having absolutely no idea if you will be allowed to go home, marry, or start a career until you are 40. Your entire youth is legally stolen by the state. But surely North Korea is more isolated from the outside world, right? Well, not really. But let's talk about information control. North Korea has its own domestic internet called Kwangmyong. They have state-sanctioned smartphones, tablet computers, and domestic propaganda apps. It's a highly advanced digital. Eritrea's strategy is much simpler: just don't have technology at all. Eritrea has the lowest internet rate in Africa and one of the lowest in the world, hovering around just 3%. There is no mobile data. To access the internet, citizens have to go to slow, government-monitored internet cafes. SIM cards for mobile phones are heavily restricted and require government permission. North Korea is infamous for its massive labor camps, which can hold up to 20,000 people in one single facility. Eritrea doesn't have giant, centralized camps. Instead, it has an invisible network of hundreds of secret, small prisons. Many of them are underground cells or metal shipping containers baked under the African sun. Political dissidents, journalists who ask the wrong questions, and people caught practicing unapproved religions are thrown into these containers. Temperatures reach over 40 degrees Celsius during the day and freeze at night. Prisoners are kept incommunicate, meaning their families have no idea if they're alive or dead for decades. Escaping North Korea has become almost impossible. The border with South Korea is a DMZ filled with landmines, and the northern border with China is locked down with AI cameras, high-voltage fences, and a strict shoot-to-kill policy. Only a few hundred manage to escape each year. But Eritrea? Despite a strict shoot-to-kill policy at its own borders, people are fleeing in massive numbers. Eritrea has a population of roughly 5 million people. Yet, over 500,000 Eritreans have successfully fled the country over the last 2 decades. That means more than 10% of the entire population has risked death to escape their homeland. They walk through active minefields into Ethiopia, risk being kidnapped or tortured by human traffickers in Sudan, cross the Sahara Desert, and board unsafe place across the Mediterranean Sea just for a chance at freedom. The fact that so many citizens are willing to brave the world's deadliest migration routes just to escape Eritrea tells you everything you need to know about the desperation inside. So is Eritrea actually worse than North Korea? Well, for me, yes. Eritrea have more worse living condition. This country is really poor but still manage a large military by number. Unlike North Korea, Eritrea even didn't have any nuclear or strong military. At least North Korea have something to be proud of, like their nuke capabilities, hacking skill, and stronger military than Eritrea. So what do you think? You interested live in Eritrea? And I'll see you in the next video.